Chosen one, your name was erased from heaven. If you ignore this, don't blame God later. Listen closely, because this moment carries a weight that cannot be delayed or softened, and there is something deeply personal unfolding around your life that you must not overlook. Because what you are about to feel is not fear, but a sacred awakening that has been waiting for your attention for a long time. There are moments when heaven grows silent, not because it has abandoned you, but because it is watching to see if you will turn back with a willing heart and a spirit ready to receive what has always belonged to you. Type Amen if you believe. There is a reason your heart feels stirred right now, as if something unseen is gently pulling you closer, urging you not to scroll past or ignore what your soul is trying to recognize as truth and restoration. This is not about punishment, and it is not about rejection, because the love of God has never turned away from you, even when your steps wandered into places that drained your strength and clouded your clarity. Yet there comes a time when truth must be spoken with urgency, so that your path can be redirected before something precious slips further away. Within this very moment, there is a quiet invitation being extended to you, and it carries the power to restore what feels lost and to rewrite what seems erased. But it requires your attention, your stillness, and your willingness to listen beyond the noise of daily distractions. Subscribe to this channel to receive blessings from God. If this touches your heart even slightly, take a moment to like this video, because your simple action allows this light to reach others who may also be standing at the edge of something life-changing and need this same gentle reminder. There was a time when your name was spoken with joy in the heavens, when your purpose was clear and your spirit walked closely with peace that did not depend on circumstances. But life has a way of layering burdens and distractions that slowly pull the heart away from that original connection. You did not lose your worth, and you did not lose your place in God's love, but there are choices and patterns that can create distance, and over time that distance begins to feel like silence, and that silence begins to feel like absence, even though God has never truly left your side. This message is not meant to make you feel small or unworthy, because you were never created to live in shame or fear, but it is meant to awaken something inside you that remembers who you were always meant to be and gently guide you back toward that identity. There are moments when heaven allows a feeling of emptiness so that you can recognize the spaces that need to be filled again with truth, faith, and presence. And this is one of those moments that carries both warning and hope in the same breath. You have been chosen, not because you were perfect, but because your heart has always carried something special that cannot be replaced, something that God saw even before you understood it yourself. And that calling has not disappeared, even if it feels distant right now. The idea that your name was erased is not a final ending, but a reflection of how far you have drifted from what was written for you. And the urgency comes from the fact that restoration is still possible, but it cannot be ignored without consequence. Type 1111 if you trust in God. There is a quiet struggle within you that has been growing, a feeling that something is not aligned, a sense that you are meant for more than what you are currently living, and that feeling is not random, because it is the echo of your original purpose, calling you back. You may have tried to silence it, to push it aside, or to convince yourself that everything is fine, but deep within your spirit there is a knowing that cannot be completely erased, no matter how far you try to run from it. God is not distant, and He is not waiting to condemn you, but He is watching with love and patience, hoping that you will recognize this moment as an opportunity to return, to realign, and to reconnect with the path that was always meant to bring you peace and fulfillment. The warning in this message is not about fear, but about awareness, because ignoring what your soul is trying to show you will only lead to deeper confusion and a heavier heart, while listening and responding will open doors that you cannot yet see. You are not alone in this moment, even if it feels like you have been walking through life without direction or support, because God has been present in ways you may not have noticed, guiding you through unseen protection and quiet mercy. There have been moments when things could have gone differently, moments when you were carried through situations without fully understanding why, and those moments were not accidents, but signs that you are still being watched over, still being cared for, and still being given chances to return. This is your moment to pause, to reflect, and to allow your heart to soften again, because the path back is not blocked, and the love waiting for you has not changed. There is healing available, there is peace waiting, and there is a renewed sense of purpose that can begin to grow the moment you decide to listen instead of ignore, to believe instead of doubt, and to step forward instead of staying still in uncertainty. Even when you felt distant, even when your thoughts became heavy and your direction unclear, there was still a presence surrounding you, guiding you in ways that your eyes could not always see, but your spirit could always feel in subtle moments of stillness. What feels like confusion in your life is not meant to destroy you, but to awaken you, because there are seasons when everything begins to feel uncertain, so that you can recognize what truly matters and what has been pulling you away from your purpose. You were not created to live in a constant state of distraction or emptiness, and that quiet discomfort you have been feeling is not meaningless, but a sign that your heart is ready to return to something deeper, something more stable, something that carries lasting peace. A 7-second brainwave approach, previously limited to elite groups and stored in classified files, is now available to everyone, and many call it the 30-second miracle. Researchers claim it stimulates a dormant brain center associated with prosperity and blessings. Click the link in the comments below before it is removed from the internet again. There are paths you have walked that seemed right at the time, choices that felt necessary in moments of pressure or emotion, yet those paths slowly led you away from the peace that once filled your heart so naturally. You did not realize it in the beginning, because the changes were small and gradual, but over time those small steps created a distance that now feels larger than you expected. And that distance is what you are beginning to notice more clearly in this moment. God has not turned away from you, and He has not erased you from His love, but there are ways of living that can cause your connection to feel weakened, and this is what your soul is responding to right now. It is not rejection that you are experiencing, but an invitation to come back, to realign, and to allow your life to be guided once again by something greater than temporary comfort or fleeting desires. Type 2020 to claim miracles. There is a deep longing inside you that cannot be satisfied by anything temporary, no matter how much you try to fill that space with distractions or achievements, because that longing was placed there for a reason. It is the part of you that was always meant to stay connected to God, the part of you that recognizes truth even when everything around you feels uncertain, and that part of you is now beginning to speak more clearly. You may have felt moments where everything seemed fine on the outside, yet inside there was a quiet emptiness that you could not explain, a feeling that something was missing even when you could not identify what it was. That feeling was not a weakness, and it was not something to ignore, because it was your spirit gently calling you back to the place where you once felt whole and at peace. There is no shame in recognizing that you have drifted, because drifting can happen slowly without intention, and life has a way of pulling you in many directions that seem necessary at the time. What matters now is not how far you have gone, but your willingness to turn back, because every step toward God brings restoration, clarity, and a renewed sense of purpose that cannot be found anywhere else. The idea that your name was erased may feel heavy, but it is not meant to bring fear into your heart, because God's love does not operate in fear. It operates in truth and compassion that seeks to restore rather than condemn. What has been lost can be restored, and what feels distant can be brought close again, but it begins with your awareness and your willingness to respond to this moment with openness instead of resistance. There is a quiet strength within you that has not disappeared, even if it feels buried under doubt or confusion, and that strength is what God sees when He looks at you. He does not see you as broken or beyond repair, but as someone who is still capable of walking in light, still capable of growing, and still capable of becoming everything that was originally intended for your life. The path back is not complicated, and it does not require perfection, because God is not asking you to be flawless, but to be willing, to be honest, and to be open to change that leads you back into alignment with truth. Even small steps toward that alignment begin to shift everything around you, because when your heart begins to move in the right direction, your life follows in ways that you cannot fully understand at first. Type yes to affirm. There are moments when you may feel unworthy of returning, moments when you question whether you deserve another chance or whether it is too late to reconnect with the peace you once felt. But those thoughts are not coming from truth. God does not measure your worth based on your mistakes, and He does not close the door when you struggle, because His love is not limited by the same conditions that the world places on you. What you are feeling right now is not rejection, but a call to rise again, to step out of the patterns that have been holding you back, and to move forward with a renewed sense of clarity and purpose. You are not meant to stay in a place of confusion or distance, and you are not meant to carry the weight of your past as if it defines your future, because your future is still being shaped by your choices in this very moment. There is something beautiful about returning, something powerful about choosing to step back into alignment with God, because it opens the door to healing that goes beyond what you can see and into areas of your life that have been quietly waiting for restoration. This is not about becoming someone else, but about becoming who you were always meant to be before the distractions and pressures of life began to pull you away. You are still chosen, and that truth has not changed, even if it feels distant or unclear, because being chosen was never about perfection, it was always about purpose, and that purpose still exists within you. The feeling that something is missing is not a sign that you are lost forever, but a sign that you are being guided back to what truly matters. What you are experiencing is not confusion without purpose, but a deep stirring of your spirit that has been waiting for the right moment to rise again, because there comes a time when the soul can no longer remain silent. The distractions that once held your attention are beginning to lose their grip, and the things that once felt satisfying no longer bring the same sense of peace, and this is not something to fear, because it is a sign that your heart is awakening to something more real and lasting. There was a time when your connection with God felt natural and strong, when your heart felt light and your direction felt clear. But over time, the noise of life grew louder, and your focus began to shift toward things that did not truly nourish your spirit. This did not happen all at once, and it was not something you chose with intention, but it happened gradually, through small compromises and quiet distractions that slowly created distance between you and the peace you once carried. What if abundance could be activated from within your own mind through a powerful sound frequency once kept in classified files? Specialists say this signal naturally draws opportunity and financial independence, and many people are already applying it. Click the link in the description and comments now and switch on this hidden brainwave today. Even now, that peace has not disappeared completely, because there are still moments when you feel it return, even if only briefly, reminding you of what your life can feel like when you are aligned with truth. Those moments are not random, and they are not meant to confuse you, but to guide you, to remind you that the connection is still there and that it can grow stronger again if you choose to move toward it. Type 1212 if you walk by faith. There is something deeply personal about this season of your life, something that goes beyond what others can see or understand, because this is not just about external changes, but about an internal transformation that is beginning to take place. You may feel as though you are standing between two paths, one that feels familiar but empty, and another that feels uncertain but filled with quiet hope. And this moment is about choosing which direction your heart will follow. God is not rushing you, and He is not forcing you, because His love is patient and gentle, allowing you the space to recognize what is true and what is not. But at the same time, there is an urgency in this moment that cannot be ignored. It is the kind of urgency that comes from knowing that something important is within reach, something that can change the direction of your life in ways that bring lasting peace and fulfillment. You have carried burdens that were never meant to stay with you for this long, thoughts that have weighed heavily on your mind and emotions that have been difficult to release. Yet even in those moments, you have not been alone. There has always been a quiet presence beside you, offering comfort in ways that you may not have fully noticed, guiding you through situations that could have been far more difficult if you had faced them without that unseen support. The idea that your name was erased is not a final truth, but a reflection of how far your attention has drifted from the place where your identity was once clear and secure. It is not a statement of rejection, but a call to awareness, a reminder that your life is meant to be lived in connection with something greater, something that brings meaning and peace that cannot be replaced by anything temporary. Type 2323 if you agree. There is a quiet invitation being extended to you right now, one that does not come with pressure or fear, but with a deep sense of love and understanding that meets you exactly where you are. You do not have to fix everything at once, and you do not have to understand every detail of what lies ahead, because the journey back begins with a single step, a simple decision to turn your heart toward God again. You may feel uncertain about what that step looks like, and that is completely natural, because change often comes with questions and hesitation, but what matters is your willingness to begin. Even the smallest movement toward truth creates a shift that begins to open doors, bringing clarity where there was confusion and peace where there was unrest. There is something powerful about choosing to return, something that goes beyond logic and touches the deepest part of who you are, because it reconnects you with the source of your strength, your purpose, and your identity. This is not about becoming perfect or meeting impossible expectations, but about allowing yourself to be guided back into alignment with what has always been true for you. God sees your heart, not just your actions, and He understands the struggles you have faced, the moments when you felt lost or unsure, and the times when you tried to move forward but did not know which direction to take. He is not waiting for you to prove yourself, because His love is not based on performance, but on a connection that was established long before you ever understood it. There is healing available to you that goes deeper than what you can see on the surface, healing that reaches into the areas of your life that have been carrying pain or confusion for a long time. This healing does not happen all at once, but it begins the moment you allow yourself to be open to it, the moment you choose to trust that something better is possible. You are not being called back to a life of restriction or fear, but to a life of freedom that comes from knowing who you are and where you belong, a life that is guided by peace rather than pressure, and by purpose rather than uncertainty. This is the life that was always meant for you, and it is still within reach, waiting for you to step into it with a heart that is ready to receive. The journey ahead may not be perfect, and there may still be moments of doubt or difficulty, but those moments will not define you, because you will no longer be walking alone. You will be walking with a renewed sense of direction, supported by a love that does not fade, and guided by a truth that remains constant, even when everything else feels uncertain. You have carried things that no one else could fully see, silent struggles that did not always have words, and feelings that you tried to manage on your own because it seemed easier than opening them up. Even in those quiet battles, there was a presence with you, watching, protecting, and waiting for the right time to remind you that you were never meant to carry everything alone, even when it felt like there was no other choice. The feeling that your name was erased has weighed heavily on your spirit, creating a sense of distance that made you question your place and your purpose. Yet that feeling is not the final truth about you. It is the result of a journey that slowly pulled you away from the center of where your peace once lived. But that center has not disappeared, and it is still calling you back with a quiet, steady voice that refuses to give up on you. What if wealth was never about chance, but about a hidden brain signal that stayed buried in classified records? This powerful frequency is now opening doors, attracting fresh opportunities, and transforming lives quickly. Thousands are already using it to bring prosperity into their lives in ways they never imagined possible. Click the link in the description and comments now, and turn on the money-attracting brainwave today. There is a part of you that remembers what it felt like to be close to God, even if those memories feel distant or faint right now, and that part of you is beginning to wake up again. It is not loud, and it is not forceful, but it is persistent, reminding you that the connection you once had was real, and it can be real again if you choose to move toward it with sincerity and openness. Type 666 if you trust Jesus. There are things in your life that have been draining your strength without you fully realizing it, patterns that seemed harmless at first, but slowly took more from you than they ever gave back, leaving you feeling empty, even when you thought you were moving forward. These patterns are not meant to define you, and they are not something you have to carry forever, because this moment is offering you a chance to release what no longer serves your spirit. God does not look at you with disappointment, and He does not see you as someone who has failed beyond repair, because His perspective is filled with compassion and understanding that goes far beyond human judgment. He sees the effort you have made, the pain you have endured, and the strength you have shown even when you felt weak, and He continues to reach for you with a love that has not changed. The distance you feel is not a barrier that cannot be crossed, because God's presence is not limited by how far you think you have gone, and His love is not reduced by the mistakes you believe define you. What matters now is not how the distance was created, but how you choose to respond to this moment, because this moment holds the beginning of something new. Type 1919 to receive miracles. There is a gentle call within you to slow down, to step away from the constant rush of thoughts and expectations, and to allow your heart to rest in a place of honesty and openness. This is where healing begins, not in trying to fix everything at once, but in allowing yourself to be still enough to recognize what your soul truly needs. You have been searching in many directions for something that could fill the emptiness you have felt, trying different paths and hoping that one of them would bring the peace you were looking for. Yet that peace has always been found in one place. It is not something you can achieve through effort alone, and it is not something that can be replaced by temporary comfort, because it comes from a connection that goes deeper than anything else. There is a reason why you are being drawn back now, a reason why this moment feels different from all the others, and it is because you are ready in a way that you were not before. You have seen enough to recognize what does not satisfy you, and you have felt enough to understand that there must be something more, something that brings lasting peace rather than temporary relief. God is not asking you to be perfect before you come back, and He is not waiting for you to fix everything on your own, because He knows that true change begins with a willing heart, not with flawless actions. You are allowed to come as you are, with your doubts, your struggles, and your imperfections, because those are not barriers to His love, but opportunities for it to work more deeply within you. There is something powerful about surrendering the need to control everything, about allowing yourself to trust that you are being guided even when you do not fully understand the path ahead. This kind of trust does not remove challenges from your life, but it changes how you experience them, bringing a sense of peace that remains even in difficult moments. You are not being called back to something restrictive or limiting, but to something freeing and life-giving, a way of living that brings clarity and purpose into every part of your life. This is not about losing who you are, but about rediscovering who you have always been beneath the layers of fear, doubt, and distraction. The journey back is not a single moment, but a series of small steps that gradually bring you closer to the peace you have been missing, and each step matters, no matter how small it may seem. You do not have to see the entire path to begin walking it, because each step will reveal the next, guiding you forward with a quiet confidence that grows over time. There is a future waiting for you that is not defined by your past mistakes or your current struggles, but by the choices you make now, and this moment is one of those choices. It is an opportunity to turn towards something that has always been there, waiting patiently for you to recognize it again and to step into it with a heart that is ready for change. You are not alone in this journey, and you never have been, even when it felt like you were walking through life without support or direction, because God has been with you in every moment, guiding you in ways you may not have noticed, but can now begin to understand more clearly. This understanding will continue to grow as you move forward, bringing light into places that once felt dark and uncertain. This is not the end of your story, and it is not a moment of loss, but a moment of awakening, a chance to begin again with a deeper understanding of who you are and where you are meant to go. The path ahead is filled with possibilities that you cannot yet fully see, but they are real, and they are waiting for you to step into them with faith and trust. You have walked through days where your strength felt thin, where your thoughts became heavy, and where your spirit felt tired in ways that could not always be explained. Yet you continued moving forward even when you did not fully understand why. That quiet endurance within you has not gone unnoticed, because God sees not only what you do, but also what you carry. And He understands the weight that has been resting on your heart during this season of your life. Inside your mind is a small region connected to achievement and abundance, once concealed within restricted research and classified documents. This newly disclosed frequency is helping people replace financial pressure with calm and balance, and God has guided you to encounter this at just the right time. Click the link in the description and comments to activate this hidden brainwave now. There were moments when you felt like giving up on certain dreams, moments when it seemed easier to accept things as they were rather than believe that something better could still come. Yet even in those moments, a small part of you refused to fully let go. That small part is important because it is the part of you that still holds faith, even when everything around you feels uncertain or incomplete. The idea that your name was erased has created a deep sense of loss within you, a feeling that something meaningful slipped away without you realizing it, yet this feeling is not meant to trap you in sadness. It is meant to awaken your awareness, to help you recognize how much your connection with God truly matters, and how powerful it is when that connection begins to grow again. Type yes to affirm. There is a restoration beginning within you that may feel subtle at first, like a quiet shift in your thoughts or a gentle change in your perspective. Yet this restoration carries a strength that will continue to grow as you allow it to take root in your life. You do not have to force this process, and you do not have to understand every detail of how it will unfold, because God is guiding it with a care that is both patient and intentional. You have spent time searching for clarity in places that could only offer temporary answers, hoping that something would finally bring the peace you have been longing for. Yet, that peace has always been closer than you realized. It has been waiting for you in the quiet moments, in the stillness where your heart can finally rest and listen without distraction or pressure.